Okay, I've never really shot a video before about doing this or anything, so if I was going to teach kind of like a metal shaping class or just a component of shop with metal shaping involved, I would start out obviously, well not obviously, but with just a simple sphere. I made this, it took me about, I don't know, probably about 4 hours, a good metal shaper, to get it to be a perfect concave. I haven't really finished the edges on this piece yet, but the ultimate goal would be to have it sit flat on a desk with no waves or curves or gaps. Very, very tough to do. A lot of manipulating involved. It takes all 4 elements of the metal shaping tools that I have laid out right here in my shop, home shop. So it's a really good starter project for kids. It's cheap. This piece of sheet metal, 18 gauge. This is about a 10-inch radius, so maybe a 20-inch piece. I don't know, $5 probably. And then you can get, let's see, you could probably get, I think 8 times 4. So you get 24 projects of this out of one sheet of sheet metal, which is $60. So there you go right there. There's your ratio. You do the math. So I start out basically telling the kids, hey, I need a circle. Give me a circle on a sheet of sheet metal. How are you going to do it? Typically, what I would do is I would design it in CAD really simply and then cut it out on the CNC plasma cutter, which could be another small component where the kids are learning basic shapes on the CAD machine, how to do perfect dimensions, how to lay them out, all of that stuff. So I could even teach that CAD stuff before this would be a good way to do it. So you would say, okay, design it on the CAD, cut your sheet, okay, you got your circle. Finally, you made it. All right, now we can shape it. So that's what I would say, okay, make it sit flat, kids. How are we going to do this? I would start out with the basic 4 elements of metal shaping. There's the only thing you can do with this piece of metal is you can bend it, you can cut it, you can shrink it, or you can stretch it. That's all you can do with sheet metal. Those are the 4 elements. And they never change unless we figure out some alien technology on bending sheet metal. I like metal shaping, teaching it in shop for kids, and I think it's good for the future of the automotive industry. I don't think it'll ever go away. Let me just put that out there. I think it would be very, very difficult to tell a robot, okay, we're going to need a custom piece of metal that's exactly this shape. You're going to have to fit it, bang it, use your hammer and dolly. So many elements and different manipulative skills involved. I don't think a robot will ever be able to do that. So a skilled metal shaper, I believe, has a really good, easy career path. You'd be paid very well. It's fun. So I think it's a good element to teach in shop, and I would teach it if I could. So basically, back to the 4 elements you're trying to do. So you're bending, cutting, shrinking, or stretching. So right here I have the shrinker or stretcher. And you use this on the end. So if I had a dip in the end where this part, so let's say, for example, if this part was coming down, I would want to stretch this part out to make it fit to the rest. So you would come in here, manipulate it with the stretcher. It's a good workout. Okay. And then, see, that kind of just, real quickly, it started even just to come flat again like I wanted, okay? This tool I love. This is probably my favorite tool in the shop. It's the English wheel. This is how you get this shape. You start to grow this concave from a flat piece of steel. Basically, you bring it in here, tighten it up. Okay. Always start from the center of where you're working. Spin it this way to get to whatever edge you want to work at. So I got some little divots in here. I don't know if the camera can see them or not, but I got some divots on the edge here, and I want to work those out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the edge right here. Okay. And just very simply, just smooth those puppies out. And that's going to change the shape of it a little. So then from here, I'll have to do a little more shrinking and stretching on the edges just to get it to lay flat. So it's a lot of work. The kids can work together with their pieces. They can stand next to each other and say, oh, hey, how did you get that part done? How did you do that? Let me see. And then they learn from each other. They can help each other. You don't have a lot of machine traffic, so if I have 4 kids in this little section right here, I think it would work good. One could planish, one could maybe use the hammer and shot bag. This is the shot bag and hammer right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is great for manipulating metal as well. So, kids could work together. These are pretty cheap. I got this for $200 off Craigslist. I bought this for $50, this for $120. So I have about $600 into one station of metalworking tools. So I could do 4 stations of this for under $3,000. It would be great. It'd be a great component to a metal shop, which I think every shop should have, and every kid should be learning this skill because it's easy, it's fun, and like I said, I don't think it will be obsolete in the future. Some metal fabrication ends will be eliminated. You'll have robotic welders, stuff like that, but I just don't ever see a robot being able to really be a great metal shaper, to build a custom chassis, to build custom body panels, anything like that. Sometimes a good old-fashioned stretch does great. So see, when I ran it through the English wheel, I got it to smooth out in some parts right here, but now I'll have to remanipulate the stretching. So that's why you're somewhat chasing your tail to make this thing perfect, but that's why it's a great project, because for one, it takes time, but you have to use all of the elements of metal shaping for this one project. So that's a component I would teach. You're learning you're learning the radius, how to do that, how to design it on CAD. I'll cut it out on the machine. That'll be a whole separate component, is machine cutting and all of that. And we could always cut it by hand. I cut this one by hand, so whatever. But yeah, that's what I would teach in a metal shaping course. Just a small component would be step 1 class for metal shaping in a high school shop class, and I think it would be very effective. The kids would love it. I've taught this to kids before, just a side contracting business, just metal shaping 101, I guess is what I called it. And they love this project. Step 2, I would involve a couple more elements, probably use something like this, and then maybe use a bead roller so we could put maybe letters in this. You could make a clock out of this. So the kids would always have this, and then we could evolve this project into something even cooler. So we could bead roll numbers into there. We could put rivets in it so they could learn riveting for the aviation industry. That would be awesome. So there's all kinds of stuff you could do just from this project. This would probably take maybe a whole week of periods just for a kid to be able to make this 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day rather. So you have that, all the designing that goes into just teaching them how to use the 2D drawing, designing. I would love to do that too. I think that's a great thing for a metal shaper to be able to do, is to be able to design a really difficult piece that they are going to have to cut and shape on, say, like a quarter panel of a Roadster. Okay, it's a very difficult piece to actually get perfect. But if you can design that on a 2D drawing, make it bigger than it needs to be, cut it out, you're going to be perfectly set. So I think it's a great skill to learn. Sorry for the long-winded video. I just wanted to kind of show the elements involved. I didn't really use them all by hand. The planishing hammer is too loud. You don't want to hear that. Shrinking and stretching makes me sweat too much. One of these days I'll upgrade to a foot-mounted one. That's really the way to go. But I think it's a cool project for kids. Can you make this lay flat on the desk for me? And one of the things that could be a variation of the grades is, so if you just make it gently lay, well then you obviously did not put a lot of work into the English wheel and making it grow in certain parts, so that would be a lower grade. So if you can get it to really make a concave effect high, that would be a higher degree of difficulty and show that you have more of a grasp of the skills and everything. So there's a good little variation of a way to give a grade to a kid or assess. I think it's a great project. So there's metal shaping 101 in what would be Wriston's shop class, I guess. Thank you.